I know some of you think I'm just grasping at straws with these examples I'm giving, but let me remind you that I am not the only one or even the first one to identify parallels between Igbo words, Igbo idioms, Igbo statements, and biblical records. I am not. Even Thomas Basden, who wrote a very scathing book about our people, in his book, he accused us of not only murdering our children, but treating our children terribly. Even he could not help but identify in his book, for anyone who has seen his book, he identified similarities between how Igbos say things, the things we say, the words we use, similarities between that and the Bible. Now, brothers and sisters, for someone who came here as a Christian missionary only and accused us of killing our children, lies upon lies and things that he wrote about us, do you know how hard it is for him to write that in his book? Do you know how hard it is for his publishers, all these people that came with lies against us? Do you know how hard it is for his publishers to even allow that to be included in his book? It's because it's extremely overwhelming. They cannot deny it. That's why they wrote it. So if you think I'm just making stuff up or I'm just grasping at straws, and then you also have to think that Thomas Basden is doing that. You have to think that Ola Adekwano is doing that. You have to think that Professor Lazy is doing that, and so many other people. And the examples I'm giving here is not even the one they gave. So you have to think the same thing. Anyway, let's go. Let's keep going. Now we're going to go into our customs, okay? Our tradition, what we do in our localities. First, let's start with female inheritance. Everybody knows that in Igbo land, the woman does not get an inheritance in her father's house because she will get married and so she will inherit in her husband's house. However, there are situations when exceptions are made to this. If the woman is not married or does not get married, or if the father dies without a male child to inherit from his household, the daughters can inherit something as well. This is our tradition. This is what we do. In fact, in my own family, in my umuna, we recently did something like this last year, where one of our sisters who was not married, okay, and her father died. She was the only child. Her father had died a long time ago, and she's not married, and so she has an inheritance. In fact, she was given a land, and her children were equally given lands as well. But this is the tradition in Igbo land, okay? Now, it is also in the Bible. Let's go to the book of Numbers, okay? In the book of Numbers, chapter 27, the daughters of Zelophehad came to Moses and to the elders of the community and said, look, our father died without a male child, and he has to have an inheritance in the house of Manasseh. And Moses consulted the Most High, and the Most High said, yes, these women are correct. Unfortunately, today there are a lot of greedy people that deny their sisters or the daughters of their brothers this inheritance. The Most High made it very clear here, Numbers 27, that this is the way the Hebrews should do. And in most communities, this is what is done. If someone dies without a male child to inherit from him, his daughters will inherit his properties. That's the way it's done in most communities. Of course, there are a few here and there where people are greedy. But that's the way it's done in most communities. And I've mentioned that in my own family, that was done. Now, a lot of people say, okay, it's just a coincidence. Okay, again, we are listing coincidence here for you. Let us see. Now, in the book of Jubilees, chapter 3, in verse 10 to 13, it talks about observing some kind of holiness after delivering a child, after putting to bed. The woman will be. This is also in the Bible, but I'm even reading the extra biblical traditions here so that you don't say, okay, we saw it in the Bible and copied it. In the book of Jubilees, remember the book of Jubilees was discovered in the 1940s, I think. Okay, but we've had this tradition. When a woman puts to bed, she has a period that's called unso, where she doesn't come in contact with a lot of things, a lot of people, and everything like that. That's described in the book of Jubilees, and this is our tradition. Okay, is that a coincidence too? All right, let's go. in Igbo land, it's an abomination for a man to dress like a woman or for a woman to dress like a man. It's complete abomination. Whether you're acting movie or whether you're doing drag queen or whatever, nobody cares. It's an abomination. Brothers and sisters, this is also in the Bible. Go and read the book of Deuteronomy chapter 22 in verse 5. Is that a coincidence too? Did we see the Bible before we have this tradition? Did we see the Bible? Okay, let's keep going. In Igbo land, right, the concept of tit for tat, it's what directs proceedings. If you, let's say, if you come and if you do me wrong now by stealing my goods, you have to pay with a goat. It's not by going to a priest and doing confession without me even knowing. No, you have to pay back with what you have to pay reparations with the damage you caused. If you come and break my arm, I have to break your own arm too. There is the law of retaliation. If you read the book of Olaudah, he said, he made it very clearly that when there's a discord in the society, the laws of retaliation takes precedence. That's what happens. Is the laws of retaliation. It's tit for tat, as it's called. And I know today Christianity has taught people that tit for tat is not good. You should just forgive. That's nonsense. In the Bible, it's clearly tit for tat. If you have wronged someone in any way, you have to make reparation with that same thing that you offended the person. That's the way you maintain balance in the society. But this is clearly in the Bible, and this is Igbo tradition. I don't even need to begin to quote that. It's also in the book of Jubilees. The book of Jubilees, if you read the book of Jubilees, chapter 4, verse 32, it's right there. And the funny thing is this, like I mentioned, the book of Jubilees was not discovered until in the 40s. Are you going to Ola Adequano wrote his book 400 years ago? So how did we see a book that was discovered in the 40s and did we copy from that? How is it a coincidence? So children of God, how is this a coincidence? But if for those of you who still think it's a coincidence, we've got more. We've got a lot more. These are all notes I have a long time ago. When I'm reading the scriptures and doing things, I just write them down. And I want to compile it as a video today so that people will see that what we're saying here, we're not joking. We are giving you proof that our people are the people the Bible is talking about. Unfortunately, we live in a world where the truth is a victim of popularity. Most people would rather believe something that is popular rather than something that is true. In fact, we are actually being taught this in school right now. I mean, we go for the popular answer than the factual, the truth. And that's the problem we have here. An example of this is the fact that most people, when they talk about the Hebrew identity, they will say, okay, the DNA has proven that they have the Kohun gene. And I got a lot of this from people in the New World, in the United States, for instance, where they say, when I did the video that why I believe the Igbos are the only remnants of the Hebrews. And a lot of people were saying, okay, what about the Lemba? They have a Kohun gene. They have DNA has shown that they have the Kohun gene. Kohun. Brothers and sisters, do you know there's no such thing as Kohun in the Bible? It's nobody's name. It doesn't mean priest. Nothing. It doesn't exist in the Bible. If you read from Genesis to Malachi, it is not there. But people, instead of taking time to even find out what is this Kohun, what exactly is it? They believe it because it's popular. It is being pushed in the popular media. And so when people see the truth, they can't handle it. But they will rather believe something that is popular because it's convenient for them. And that's the problem we have. We live in a world where people don't find out things. They just believe what is being pushed. And let me give another example of that. Especially all these people, most people, unfortunately, most of the people that I come across in what I'm doing are people that call themselves Hebrew Israelites. And most of them, they greet with shalom, shalom, shalom. Okay. First of all, children of God, do you know that in the Old Testament Bible, nobody is greeting anybody with shalom? Nobody goes to anybody's house and say shalom. No, it's not a greeting. Actually, in the Bible, shalom is somebody's name. Actually. Now, and I think I've said this somewhere in the comments. Shalom sounds like Igbo word shalom, which means excuse me. It's not a greeting. It's excuse me. That's this. It sounds like the Igbo word shalom, which means excuse me. And some people say, okay, this is a coincidence. Is it a coincidence? Okay, since you're looking for coincidence, let's go. Now, let me take you to the words, the names in Igbo land.